that's enough. There. Okay, so today I decided I was going to try something new. I'm going to try making an apple cobbler. So I thought some of the things I can do around here to get some practice in, videotaping and whatnot, would be to do some cooking in videotape and see how it comes out. I just got a new editing software so I can edit my videos, so I'm going to play with this recipe a little bit and see if I can make a nice video out of it. So what I'm going to start with, first of all, is the recipe is on Pinterest. It's called Easy Apple Cobbler. I will put a link in the description below. I started out by having a hard time deciding what kind of apples I wanted to use because the kind I normally use, which is Empire apples from New York, are not available here in South Carolina. So I decided to choose Red Delicious, and I bought a standard size bag. It's a 5-pound bag of apples. The recipe calls for 6 to 8 large apples, or the equivalent of approximately 9 cups. So I filled this, which is a 8-cup bowl, measuring cup, and I kind of let it overflow a little bit. So I think I'm good at 9 cups right here. So the first thing you're supposed to do is take your bowl of apples, and you're supposed to add to it 2/3 a cup of granulated sugar and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. You're supposed to sprinkle that in there nice, and then we're going to mix it all up. This is reminding me of making an apple pie. This is the best part. So once you mix these all up good, the juice from the apple starts to come out, and they're just delish. I seriously could sit here and eat an entire bowl of these. Or not this big of a bowl, but I could eat a bowl of apples sprinkled in sugar and cinnamon. So this is the biggest bowl I have. We're just gonna have to make this one work. Okay, just keep tossing these until they're nicely coated. And make sure all that cinnamon goodness especially gets on the apples. I did go a little heavier on the cinnamon than it calls for, but that's a personal preference. Love cinnamon. So I don't think you can ever have too much cinnamon. So, okay, there we go. I think that's good. So we got it mixed pretty good there. Okay, and we're going to take it directly to a 12 by 9 casserole dish. It did not, the recipe didn't indicate if you should grease this or not, so I went ahead and did a little Pam in there just to make sure. I don't want to make a masterpiece and have it stuck to the glass, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and put your apples in the pan. Lick the bowl. It's important not to waste. And I'm just going to get these all settled in here. There we go. Let them all get to know each other for a little bit, so that all those flavors will mix nicely. Okay, now the next step is we're going to put that aside. The oven has been preheated to 350 degrees. The next step we're going to do is take this. I love this. I use it all the time. Again, it's an 8-cup glass measuring bowl slash, bowl, measuring cup slash bowl, and I got it from Pampered Chef. One of the nice things I got from Pampered Chef that I use all the time. So we're going to begin by adding 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Just dump it right in there. Remember to measure your flour and scrape the top. It's really important that you get an even measure on those kinds of ingredients. Also, when you're using butter or you're using eggs and it says room temp, it's very important to do that room temp because it will make a huge difference in your recipe. If you are in a pinch and you have eggs that are fresh from the fridge, you can submerge them in a cup of lukewarm water, not hot. It will begin to cook your egg, believe it or not. You want it in lukewarm water. After about 5-10 minutes, it'll be room temperature perfect. So, and another trick for butter is if you put it on a warm plate that you've warmed up in the microwave, put the butter on there and cover it with like a glass bowl or something. Walk away for 5 minutes, come back, and it'll be nice and soft for you. So, okay, so we've got our 2 cups of all-purpose flour. We're going to add 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. See, I pre-measured in all these pretty little glass bowls so I look like a pro. Okay, so that you don't watch me fumble and spill stuff. Okay, and then we're going to take the 2 large eggs, which are at room temp. Put those in there. Always put your eggs in a separate bowl too and crack one at a time, and just make sure you don't have any shells before you add the second or third, however many eggs you're putting in it. Do them separately because you don't want to waste everything you've put together because you have a cracked shell that you can't find. So it's always best to do it separately. Okay, and then we also need to put in 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I put that in with the flour already, so that's already in here. And then I have a teaspoon of cinnamon and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Okay, this is going in here. And then 2/3 a cup of melted butter. Doesn't that look pretty? Yeah, it's going right in there. All right, and what I usually do is just throw a stick or 2 in the microwave, melt it, and then I measure it, but make sure you use a liquid measurer. Don't use a solid measurer because you're never going to get an accurate reading. You need something that is specifically made for liquid measure. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and mix all this up with my handy dandy Mickey Mouse spatula. And this mixture here just goes directly on top of the apples. And then it goes right in the oven. But this is supposed to have like a crumbly consistency to it. So don't be surprised if it starts looking a little odd. It's supposed to be crumbly. Okay, I'm going to show you that. See that? It's looking pretty crumbly. That's what it's supposed to do. How do I know, having never made this? Because I know everything. I'm a grandmother. I'm required to know everything. Okay. So then I like to keep scooping it around, cut it in, make sure you get all the flour on the bottom mixed in. Ooh, here we go. Almost there. All right, almost. A little bit more. There we go. Okay. All right, now this is your topping. So what we're going to do now is drizzle this over the apple mixture. Sorry, I'm reading while I'm talking, or not talking. All right. And there is no drizzle in this stuff because it's too solid. So I am going to be breaking it all up here, just like I would a crumble for a, for like an apple crisp or something like that. And I want to make sure there's something everywhere. I'm one of those people, if I go and get a taco or something, I get really annoyed when there's like 1/4 teaspoon of cheese at the end of my taco. Or 3 shards of lettuce. I like things to be done a certain way. This is why I don't work at places like that, because they'd be annoyed with me because I would be so careful about what I sent out the door. They'd be like, "Lady, you're not working fast enough, or you're using too much product." I just can't work at places like that because it bothers me when people don't get what they pay for. So, ooh, God, the smells so good. Not just the apples and the cinnamon, but this little mixture here. It smells amazing. Who knew? All right. I guess I didn't have to worry so much about there not being enough to cover because I still have about half of what I made, and I'm pretty well covered already. So that means there's extra. All right, I like that though. And I'm gonna assume, having never made this before, that this is all just gonna, melt and incorporate itself all the way down to the apples on the bottom. Okay, here's the last of it. Oh yeah, there was plenty. Plenty. All right. So there we go. I'm going to take a second to wash my hands. All right, the oven has been preheated to 350. So we're going to pop this in, and it's supposed to cook for between 45 and 55 minutes, or until the top starts to lightly golden brown. We're supposed to take it out, let it slightly cool, and then it's advised to serve this while it's warm with some vanilla ice cream and caramel sauce. So I don't know that we'll do that. We'll probably have it later this evening, so it won't be warm, but that's what microwaves are for. So, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this in the oven at 350. Middle rack. Set my timer. 255. and hit go. Go for launch. All right, so after that comes out of the oven, I'll show you what it looks like. And then later on, after I serve it with some caramel sauce on it and some vanilla ice cream, I'll show you how it looks all plated. And then my husband's reaction to eating it, which I'm sure will be, better be good. All right, anyway, so that's it for now. I'm gonna go ahead and log off for now and finish this video after the cooking is done. See you in a bit. Okay, here we are, 55 minutes later. Tell me that is not heaven in a dish. The top is nicely browned, the sides are bubbly, and it smells amazing. So, I shall plate that later this evening with some vanilla ice cream and some caramel sauce and show you the finished product. Okay guys, time to get ready to have some dessert. I've already got one that I scooped out and I put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds just to get the warm back in the apple. Now let's put some vanilla ice cream on here. Okay. How good does that look?